Because what's happening inside of an avoidant is not really what you see on the outside. What you see on the outside is someone who can become instantly aloof and distant and cold and seemingly uncaring. And if you've been in a deeper, intimate, loving connection with them and you see them go into that cold, distant mode, seemingly for no reason, or often just when things are getting really deep and sweet and connected, it can feel really bad and it's so easy to take it personally. But it's not personal, and that's what I want to share here with you. Hey my friends, in this video I want to give you a really kind of different take on the avoidant attachment style. This is coming from a direct insight that I had into someone with a fearful avoidant attachment style, what I saw psychically when I broke up with them. And the reason I want to share this with you is because I think it gives a healing insight into what happens inside the mind and the body of someone with an avoidant attachment style. I think what I'm going to share with you is going to help avoidant people understand themselves better. And I think it's going to help people with a more anxious attachment style to help them understand an avoidant attachment style person. One of the painful things about dating someone with an avoidant attachment style is their withdrawal from intimacy, which can happen sometimes on a regular basis, or they may not ever really get intimate at all. If they are a fearful avoidant attachment rather than a dismissive avoidant, then they probably grab onto you and pull you in close for intimacy, but then that intimacy scares them and then they push you away. But when you go away, that scares them, so they grab you and pull you back in for more intimacy, and then you end up being like on this emotional yo-yo with the other person. And that's painful, and it can be really confusing for someone who doesn't have that attachment style. Like, why are they doing it? It's so easy to take it personally. So that's why I want to share this. It's a psychic insight. What does that really mean? First of all, we're all psychic. We all have the ability to perceive things using our mind rather than our physical senses. Our psychic senses are, you could say, they are the physical senses of our spiritual body, our soul body. Our soul has eyes and ears and a tactile sense, and it can smell and it can taste. It can do all the same senses that our physical body can do, and probably more than our physical body can do. That's what psychic abilities are. They're just us connecting back into our higher mind and using the senses that come with the higher mind. And then we can perceive things through the medium of consciousness, which is all pervasive and actually is the entire universe, in my opinion. My insight, my opinion. You don't have to believe me if you don't want to. I'm just trying to share what my perspective is on this. So we can all access our psychic abilities. Someone taught me how to do that when I was a teenager, and then I later went to a school that taught me how to do it even better, and I use them now and again. In this relationship with this woman that I broke up with about a month ago, I felt a particularly strong intuitive psychic link connection with her, and I think she felt that with me, which just meant that I was picking up stuff from her much more easily than normal. Some people, for some reason, we can have a stronger psychic connection with than other people. This has been my experience. Some people you can just read easier than other people. For me, sometimes I can feel what other people are feeling. If I have a really strong connection to them naturally, or if I just really focus on trying to do that, which I almost never try to do that intentionally because it's work and I'm lazy fundamentally. And so I don't try to do that. I don't try to sense what's going on inside of other people. But sometimes it just hits me. Of course, I want to also throw a grain of salt on this discussion and say that psychic perception is highly subjective. It goes through the filter of our own belief systems, our own desires and fears, which can distort our psychic perceptions to favor our pre-existing biases. So, of course, that's a factor that every psychic needs to have on the table permanently. It never leaves the table. We should never assume with total certainty that we're correct about something. We should always be cautious about that, in my opinion. So, having said that, I perceived something in my fearful avoidant ex. When I broke up with her, I had an instant, powerful hit. And that's what I want to share in this video because it gave me a very deep insight into what's happening in the body mind of an avoidant type. And I think it'll be so useful for so many people to hear this because what's happening inside of an avoidant is not really what you see on the outside. What you see on the outside is someone who can become instantly aloof and distant and cold and seemingly uncaring. And if you've been in a deeper, intimate, loving connection with them and you see them go into that cold, distant mode, seemingly for no reason, or often just when things are getting really deep and sweet and connected, it can feel really bad and it's so easy to take it personally. But it's not personal. And that's what I want to share here with you. So what I saw, I sent them a text breaking up with them. There was a pause as they must have received the text and then they opened it and then they read it. And then I felt it was sort of like a infographic. It was a pictogram. It was an impression that was partly emotion, partly belief system, partly imagery, and it had a very strong emotional energy to it. And what it was, if I had to put it into one word, was devastation. Just so intense. Such an intense couple of moments, 2, 3, 4 moments of pure desolation and devastation on an emotional level. There was such a deep, painful loss that I perceived her feeling when she read the text with me breaking up with her. And then suddenly, boom, this cool, distant, you might even say cold, analytical, in IFS we'd call it a manager part. It's a part of our psyche that helps us to not feel painful feelings. Well, just like a few moments after I felt that desolation and devastation, I felt that cold, businesslike, analytical manager part jump in front, and that painful feeling of desolation, devastation was gone. The manager had shoved it down inside so that this woman didn't have to feel that. That's what I was experiencing from her on a regular basis. The same thing that happened at the end there, I was experiencing that from her on a regular basis, where she would sort of push me away, push the intimacy away, because I think it got scary for her. And I feel like my tender heart, which was warmly and tenderly reaching out, just gets thrown away. That's what the avoidant does. When they're faced with pain, they have this ability to repress it, to kind of throw it away. And they will throw you away at the very same time. And the real tragedy for them is that they are throwing a part of themselves away. I know in this woman there's a part of her that loves me and wanted to be with me and was very sad when we broke up, but she threw that part away in that moment in exactly the same way she threw me away and threw our relationship away. I know this sounds really judgmental and blaming, and it's not, because what I'm here to tell you is this is not her fault. That is a reflex, a defense against pain. And guys, when I felt the devastation in her psychically, when I felt that absolute desolation and devastation, I wouldn't have wanted to feel that either. That's why she has this avoidant mechanism to throw that away, because that feeling was so horrible. It felt like an absolutely overwhelming loss and sadness. Of course she didn't want to feel that. I wouldn't have wanted to feel that. If I had the choice to be an avoidant, I would probably take it, because sometimes the pain we carry is so horrible. It just feels so painful that if I could turn it off like that, oh my God, I would. I would all the time. But I just don't have that ability. That's why I'm not an avoidant. That's why that's not my defensive style. I have a different kind of defensive style. So I'm not better than her. I'm not blaming her. And keep in mind, this is all subjective. This is something I saw psychically, or what I believe that I saw psychically. I feel pretty sure about it because of how clear it was and strong it was when I felt it, and because I was perceiving things in her all the time, and when I would share them, she would typically say it was really accurate, and oh my God, I can't believe you're able to see all of that stuff about me. So I got feedback on my ability to feel what was going on with her, and it was typically that I'm seeing it accurately. So I believe I'm accurate. I don't know 100%. I'm not too attached to it. But the point is it a useful insight for me to have seen how painful that image was that came up in her? That like, oh my God, I've been rejected. I've lost the love of my life. I don't know if that's really the words that she had for me or not, but in that feeling pictogram, that infographic, energetic, I think what I was seeing is what they call in India, they call it a vasana, an impression, a memory, a painful memory that has meaning, emotion, an energetic quality. We all carry those kinds of things around with us. My God, it was so painful. And no wonder she buried it as fast as she could and ran away from it. No wonder in our relationship, while we were trying to make it work, no wonder she periodically pulled away from me, because when that infographic would arise in her, who has the ability to tolerate something that painful? I don't even know how you do it. It was so intense. So if you know someone who's an avoidant, who removes themselves from your connection, who throws you away on a regular basis perhaps, maybe they try to pull you back in, or maybe they just keep their distance, it doesn't mean that there isn't someone inside of their heart that longs for you, that loves you, that wants to be with you, whose hopes and dreams were bound up with you. It doesn't mean that. That cold, distant persona that you see on the surface that just seems like they don't care. You might have been married to them for 20 years and then it's like you're done, they throw you away. It's not real. That's not really who they are. They're just trying their best to not feel something that's so painful to them that it probably feels like it will annihilate them if they let it arise in them, and if they really felt it. If they really surrendered to that feeling and let it be, it probably feels to them like it would kill them. And so it's not personal when they throw you away. Somewhere inside of them, even if you never see it again, is a tender, loving, innocent and more real and true part of them that loves you and values the love that you shared with them.